my TVs, okay? So we're gonna take it back to September 9th, 2021, right? This day is when I lost, well, that night is when I lost my teeth, and my life changed forever, for real. So I've always gotten, since I was a child, that my smile is like my most beautifulest asset, you know, the thing that people notice about me first, and how it just, lights the room up or whatever. Because I'm always smiling, even with my teeth messed up. I'm still always smiling and laughing. It's just natural. I was actually with, I would say, a friend, because we had decided about a couple days or so before then, maybe a day before, that, we just were going to be friends. He was an ex, but turned friend. Like, he knew that I was a good person, but he just couldn't be what I needed righteously. And when we woke up, we went to his mom's trailer, which was behind his grandmother's house. And it was around like 10, 11 o'clock in the morning. It's his mom that day. She was home and she was getting ready to leave. And his mom asked him if he wanted anything back from the store, and he wanted a vape, which he was going to go get us some food already, and just asked him if he wanted anything else. And so he asked for the vape and asked for some alcohol, which was a gallon of Kentucky whiskey. I was not necessarily a whiskey drinker. He wanted to take some on the road with us, because apparently that day he had on his agenda to go see a friend in another city. And so we poured up a cup, we mixed it with some Coca-Cola. At that point, I didn't have my car, because I want to say it was a few days to a week before that he was driving my car. I had a black Honda at the time, and we went across the railroad tracks, and one of my tires busted, and I didn't necessarily have the money then to go get it. And he was, he was working, but he had spent all his money, and he had asked his mom to help out eventually. So I had to leave my car, as before he asked his mom. I had to leave my car at a bank, is what it was, a bank. And so his mom came and picked us up that night. Fast forward to that day, September 9th. I drove his car from his mother's and his grandmother's to his friend's house, which was a good 30 minutes or so drive. And I didn't drink lightly. I just sip, you feel me? And so we spent time with his friend at his house, and his friend wants us to ride with him to Jacksonville that day, right? Go do what he needs to do, which I'm not going to get into that, because, I believe karma's already handling his ass, in honesty. But, so, we ride with him. I'm in the back seat. My friend's in the front seat with him, and, I'm vibing. I'm drinking the Kentucky whiskey that he poured up before we left, and I get drunk. Ain't gonna lie to nobody, I get drunk. So, and where we went to was over an hour away from where we went to his friend's house. And so, it was, a good little drive, good little ride. We had fun that day, honestly. It was a vibe. But I did feel like that morning before we left, I came outside before we left, and I just felt like the day was odd. It just felt weird. And so, I didn't think much of it, of course. But anywho, so I go back to his friend's house, and he drives the car, and takes me to my mother's house, which is not too far from where his friend stayed. In all honesty, probably about a good 15 minutes, if that. And so he took me to my mom's house, and he didn't want to, stay. He wanted to go, so he claimed back to his friends. But when he came back, he was drunker than a mug or whatever, which I know he had been on some other stuff that day, and I was just not with it. I was like, nah, fuck that. So, when he came back, my cousin and her family, my sister, my mother, they were outside, and they seen him pull up, and he was folded over the steering wheel. You could tell he was drunk. And I noticed it too, but something in my soul just told me to ride with him to make sure he'd be okay. And even though I was upset with him, because I noticed the way, and it was not the way coming from his friend's house. So I was thinking he went to go see another female, so I didn't really have too much to say to him I just want to make sure he got home, and the next day I was going to have him drop me back off my mom's and be done for real. But God had other plans. So instead of going the way we normally do from my mom to his mom's house and his folks' house, we went the long way and down a road called Nixon Chapel Road, which turned out to be one of the most deadliest roads here in Marshall County, apparently. And people think that it's haunted as well. I don't really know. I haven't really checked into it much for real, because, you know, it's still sensitive. It's still a sensitive thing to, you know, get down into, and I don't really too much care for that area for real. But anywho, so, you know, we go down the long way to his folks' house, and he's not swerving, he's not running to the ditch, he's not doing none of that. Like, he's driving pretty straight. Mind you, the whole time we're quiet, we're not really saying, we haven't said not one word for real to each other. And so by the time we get on this road, Nixon Chapel Road, he ends up going off to the left and like into oncoming traffic, which there was no traffic on the road that night besides one car that passed us, and then that was it. But he ended up going off to the left and down into a ditch. Like, it was a steep little ditch. And when that happened, I was sitting with my arm on his headrest like this, my leg folded, kind of like towards him, but not really, you know, like diagonal towards him. And so, I mean, I felt the car go down. Mind you, I'm still feeling drunk, feeling buzzed or whatever. And so I look up and notice that we're in a ditch. And I look over at him, notice his eyes is wide open, like at the road. And so I'm like, you gonna slow down? And next thing I know, I woke up hearing my sister cry. She was working at Huntsville Hospital the night that we had our car accident. And I was in the ICU for 3 days and in a regular room for 2. And so by the 3rd day, I was in the ICU and I woke up, which I had woke up, I believe the 2nd or 3rd day. I was in and out. And, you know, I got to talk to some of my nurses, which I wanted to give a special shout out to Justin. Special shout out to them because they took care of me, like, really good. And I very much so appreciate them. And so it was the 3rd day that, you know, I actually woke up fully, and they let me walk, or helped me walk, and I went to the bathroom for the first time and seen myself, and I was like, oh my gosh. Like, I boo-hoo cried in the bathroom. I could barely walk. My face, like, this whole side of my face was, like, just pink and swole. My lip was busted, teeth gone, which at that point they had already put the bars on my, you know, gums, like braces in a way to hold my jaw together because my jaw broke, my nose broke, my left shoulder blade fractured, my L2 spine fractured, and my right hip was fractured. And so it was really tough to see myself like that, because I don't remember anything really that happened besides the fact that, you know, we was in the car together, and the next thing you know, nothing. And so when I woke up, I asked my sister, I hear her crying, whatever, I asked my sister, this is when I get to the hospital, before I'm in the hospital for 5 days total. And I'm like, where's JT? She starts crying even more, and I start hyperventilating, so that's when they had to sedate me and put me under. And so by the time I get out, which I really do appreciate my sister, one of my sisters who was working that night, Angel, she helped me throughout that time when I got out of ICU, and she, you know, helped bathe me and gave me mints and stuff like that, helped me with all my hygiene care. And, you know, anything I needed, she got it for me. And so special shout out to her. You know, she's now RN and doing big things, and I'm super proud of her. But anywho, so get out of the hospital the 5th day, and I'm being told by my family members from there was a couple bystanders, because when we had the accident, we end up, mind you, was in a ditch, and we landed in someone's yard. So how this came to be about was JT ended up hitting culverts, which is like the ditch on the sides of the driveways, and we flipped in the air multiple times, went through the windshield, and he died on impact. But me, on the other hand, by the grace of God, I got up, crawled or limped, whichever way, to the people's home whose yard we landed in. And come to find out, I ended up passing away on the way to the hospital. But the people had told my mother that they seen us in the air. They heard the crash and seen us in the air because they was on the back porch or whatever, you know, just chilling, enjoying their home, not expecting nothing, of course. And so they rushed out to see what's going on. And I came limping the door for help. And it was so bad that my people wouldn't even allow me to see the car because it was just crushed, like it was mashed up. And mind you, JT actually had a car accident like this before, so I was told. And, you know, he always did wear his seatbelt, but this particular night he didn't. Neither did I. So that's why we went through the windshield. It was real gruesome. That was a real hard time because, you know, his mother and I was actually talking after I got to the hospital, and she was talking to my mom, and, you know, there was plans on me coming to the funeral and sitting with her, but that broke up in August, and then we rekindled at the end of August, and he was messing around with this heifer named Janisha, who ain't no good, ain't never been no good, honey. But she, somehow, I still don't even have the story straight to this day, but I'm gonna tell it anyways, because she was the one, she admitted that she ended up with all my stuff and my credentials. Like, I couldn't find my phone, my wallets, money. I had $450 in there, shoes. I had another phone in there. I had an Android and an iPhone, and both were lost, and still never got the Android back. But anywho, so she ended up hacking my Facebook and trying to claim that I and the state trooper on scene that night tried to cover up his death. Never met the man a day in my life. The most stupidest crackheaded ass shit I've ever heard. And she, in fact, was on meth, and his mother was too. But anywho, his mother obviously took to what she was saying, and the drugs didn't make it no better, honey. It didn't, because she did a whole 360 on me. Like, she switched up on me, didn't want me coming, with mad cursing at me and everything, which I could kind of get in a sense, but she wasn't like that before until that girl got in her head. And I'm pretty sure she was just mad that me and him had basically got back together, like rekindled. We was still hanging out after the fact. And so that was a big deal. Like, she had people not coming after me, but like talking a whole lot of stuff about me and coming at me, talking about I was the one driving this, that, and the third. And it's like, no, I was not the one driving. I got like my cousin, her baby daddy, my mom, my sister, all seen that I left with him in the passenger seat. So I tried to file charges, but for whatever reason they didn't send it through. And which the police officers came to my home. I wrote a statement out, gave a statement, whatever, and I told them I wanted to press charges, but still to this day, charges not pressed, but it's okay because, like I said, karma is eating that ass up, okay? I promise y'all. And I don't mean this in any harm or any bad way, but that's just how it is. Like, when you do people wrong, you're bound to get whatever you did to someone back tenfold, maybe even 1,000-fold, depending on how severe it was, honey. That's just how life is. That's just how God works. And so, and she stalked me throughout the time or whatever. Like, she would add me on Facebook and watching me. Just weird as fuck. I don't know. Facebook, she decided, because I had family members that were, you know, coming at her because what the fuck is you doing? And she decided to read my messages and talk about one of my sister's situations with her person. And yeah, the most craziest crackheaded ass shit I've ever heard of. And I've never heard of anyone doing something like this before. Like, never been through nothing like this before. And it was just so crazy. And I'm over here trying to grieve myself in pain and everything. And on top of that, I was going through it with my daughter's dad. When I think about it, I'm real glad that happened, because my daughter could have been in the car and she could have died. And it don't even matter if she was broken or not. I'm just grateful that she was not there, you know. So since 21 to now, I've had teeth removed. Like, this down here was kind of uprooted, but it kind of set itself back. Which actually I now deal with a specific type of gum disease because of it. And so I've had teeth removed. I got a partial put in, as you can tell, which I had to pay like $3,000 out of pocket for. And I had insurance, y'all. I had insurance. So yeah, I've tried to get a loan with the dentist office and, you know, with loan places around, and I've been denied because my car, let me tell y'all this crazy ass. So, okay, I forgot about my whole home, car, everything, bills and everything I had to do. I'm over here worried about me and my friend and died, and just getting through it, honey. And then on top of that, I couldn't even go say my final goodbyes to him. And so, like, I was just really going through it. And, you know, finally had to remember that I had a home and a car, bills and stuff to pay. Like the $450 I had in my purse, which was it was like a small army green, like small backpack type of thing. And I had $450 in it for my rent. Mind you, it was the 9th. I was late, so I had $50 extra to pay my rent. Thank God that my manager at the time helped me out. Bar note, and this man gonna tell me, and he see my arm is in sling, teeth wired shut, teeth missing, face all just messed up, honey. And he just didn't want to give me a break. Basically, it was I didn't need a car anyways. So, but I was mad at that point, because it's like, dang, how you just gonna take you? I got the money right here in hand. Came to the place, had the money in hand, ready to pay the man. And if he needed some extra money, I was gonna give it to him. But he was like, no. And y'all know what's crazy? That same car is on my credit right now. That same shit. When I had the money to pay. And matter of fact, as I'm thinking about it, yeah, that's what's holding me up from getting loans and stuff when I need it. And I'm going to definitely dispute that, because it's not like I didn't have the money. And it's not like, oh, I just didn't care to pay my bill. I was in a whole car accident and lost someone near and dear to me. And on top of that, I lost I lost me. I was depressed. I was grieving. I needed time. And I mean, I get that we didn't call or anything, but honey, anybody think about no damn bills when they died? First of all, came back to life just to find out the person that was driving the car died. Okay, wasn't nobody think about no shit like that. But I'll say this: I'm gonna get right here soon. Y'all gonna see a whole new smile here soon. I promise you that. And you know, honestly, since then I've been, like I said, my confidence is came back renewed, honey. Courage is there. It's all the way fully intact now. And so what's crazy is my daddy had a car accident in 2003, September 14th to be exact. Same type of way. He went into a ditch, hit culverts, flipped over several times, but the car landed on top of him. He died. I always took like this, had this survivor's guilt, because that night when he passed away, he wanted us to go with him, but he was drunk and my mom was not having it. And so I always wished that I did go with him, because maybe perhaps I could, you know, he would have been more safe or something, you know. And so one day I'm driving down the road that he passed on, my dad, and I get this revelation from God saying, you wouldn't have been able to do anything anyways. And at first I thought it was about the accident with JT, but then I remember what road I was on, and I just started boo-hooing. Because, in all honesty, that makes sense. Because I wasn't able to save him. And, you know, one of the posts his mom made was, there was a nurse on scene who didn't help him. It's like, the only nurse on scene was me. How could I help him? Besides the fact of me going to the people's front door and knocking on it for help. And that really hurt, because in all honesty, if I was conscious and aware of what I was doing, he would have been and who knows, I might have went over to him first before actually going to the people's home, to the front door, and like I said, I don't remember what happened in that time. And I don't think I know is what the people told my mom and what they seen for themselves. God picked me up and took me to the front door. Okay. God let me know years later there was nothing I could do for either one of them, my dad or for JT. And to stop, holding, you know, stop being guilty for things that I have no control over. Stop trying to have control over things that it's not ordained for you to. You feel me? And that was my lesson, honestly. That was my lesson in the accident. And also to have discernment, listen to, the people around me. But in the same sense, I felt in my spirit that night I had to go with him. And honestly, this day I feel like I helped him transition, because after the accident I got home, probably about 2 weeks later, I'm laying in bed with my sister watching movies or whatever, and I feel this tickling down my nose, down my face, and I'm like automatically thinking, JT, like, stop doing that. And so to check to see, mind you, I already got into spirituality, but I wasn't that deep into it. I was only a year into my spiritual journey, like being aware in my spiritual journey. And so I'm like trying to test the waters and see, is this for real? Like, am I tripping? So when it happened, I'm talking to my sister about it, and so I'm like, wait a minute, let me check this out. And so I'm like, JT, if this is you, stop tickling me. It stopped. And then I was like, stunned. So I had to double check. And I was like, JT, if this is you, tickle me again. And when I tell you, came all down here. And that's the thing. That's what he used to do to me. Like, he used to just tickle me there. I don't know why. But, I mean, it didn't necessarily make me mad. It was just something, something he did. And that was something he was letting me know he passed over. And he made it. He was safe. He was okay. And then that's when my spiritual journey like really kicked in. Like, that's when I really became awakened. And so even though that was a hard time, that was a difficult, real difficult. Like, I don't know what was worse to go through, the journey with my lupus and all the pain I went through and the suffering, or being in an accident, losing my smile, or losing my teeth and losing another person, like literally sitting right next to me. And so it's like, I mean, there's hardships that, hardships and lessons that, God sends our way for us to, make a change in our lives. Because in all honesty, I was not in a good place in my life before the accident. I really wasn't. I really wasn't. I'd have been called all types of names, a killer after the accident, crackhead, because I just went down. I spiraled after my daughter had been taken away from me. I really did spiral. But that day, I didn't do no other activities besides drinking, smoking weed, and vaping, okay? And that's on my daddy. That's on God, okay? So, yeah. I mean, I've overcome it. His mother apologized to me. His friends apologized to me. The main people that I needed closure from gave me closure. And I thank them. I thank them so much, because after the investigation, the truth finally came out. If I was the one that was driving, my blood would have been on the top of the roof, not his. If I was the one that was driving, I would have been in jail. Because actually, I remember when I was in the hospital, after I woke up, it might have been, I think they asked me before when I woke up, when I first got to the hospital, and the third day when I got out of ICU, the police asked me, like, were you driving? No, I knew I wasn't driving, honey. Only thing I know is, where is JT at, baby? Because I know that what went on before everything went black, and I was scared to lose him, and it hurt to lose him. But I thank God that he has transitioned, because honestly, I feel like his life is gonna go downhill fast too, because he had some charges on him that were still pending. He's going to court for, and honestly, I don't feel like he was made for jail. I think he was just like me. He was trying to fit in, because he was bullied when he was younger for his weight, and he was just trying to fit in once he slimmed down, and fit in with the wrong people, honestly. and got in some trouble. Something he should have never been a part of for real. But in all honesty, I feel like God wanted to call him back home anyway, because, you know, the life he was living was not, yeah, I know it wasn't the life he wanted to be living. And I know, like, it wasn't good. He was a good person. He was a great person. He was so sweet. He was giving. He was kind. You know, everybody has their moments and things, but he was really too good for the life that he was living. And I feel like, you know, this is how I feel. I feel like himself, he had so much pain and suffering from, you know, he's a mixed kid. He's born in a racist little town, city, community, whatever, and supposed to be the savior of the community, but, you know, you still got people over there being racist and stuff. And I know he heard the slick side comments and things, and, you know, the way his mom was, and, you know, having the charges on him. I felt like he was ready to go. And actually, there was time, I think it was about a week before then, actually, he spoke on, like, not wanting to live life anymore. I'm like, boy, you better get it together. Hell, I know, like, I know the life is hard, but God got you. And honestly, as much as he wore Jesus' peace, I don't think he really believed. But I hope he did. You know, I would think he did, because I remember feeling him after my accident when I got home to my mom's. So, I mean, I don't know, but yeah, that's the story of my teeth and the things that I went through and my lesson. Like, comment, subscribe, share, tell a friend to tell a friend. Come on down to Empress Beulah's Tea and Testimony. You all have a great day. Bye. Is it good?
Call a bitch over to the hotel room and I'm busting her up. Nigga on my dick inside the club, saying he got bricks, I'ma get him drunk.
What's up, guys? I'm living
This is going to be a swab for them in the second half.
Wondering where that 21% of possession came from as well. We mentioned Carly Lloyd with Sullivan with a strike.
Well, you might want to put it in the refrigerator. And no meat on it, wait.
As well, and Williams
Eat in the morning.
How about Mallory Pugh already with a couple assists on the evening? Doesn't look like we'll have any subs here for the United States.